I was talking to a guy at the club and he said his girlfriend dragged him to church. He said the message was kind of dark. He said they told him that we're in a very dark time. He said he hadn't been to church for quite a while and he wasn't expecting to hear that message. In the story of the Bible, Peter only denies Christ 3 times, but we're living in a time when we're being called to deny Christ continually with our every breath. It's part of today's culture and even in the church. We're all running out of breath. I guess it's because church just wasn't profitable enough and there wasn't enough return on investment. They say that the truth is like gold, but we were taken off the gold standard a long time ago. If the truth's not in us, perhaps we need a different plan. I'm going to suggest that church sell the naming rights of Jesus to better fund and monetize the church for greater works. That's what we need in our time. We need Amazon Jesus. It really rolls off the tongue. Welcome, welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about adopting a child. And if Jesus was alive today, would he choose early retirement or resurrection? And we talked about how you're not really dead unless you're dead in the New York Times. And that salvation is kind of like going to the dry cleaners. No one is really quite sure how it works. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Exodus. If we're thirsty, chances are God already knows that. And from Romans, let us boast in the Lord by not boasting about him. The gospel reading was about the woman at the well. We drink water and we're thirsty again, but in God, we're never thirsty again. At Washington National Cathedral, the sermon was by Leonard Hamlin, and he talked about quantum insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a new outcome. He did leave us with the sentiment that no matter how dark it might seem, there is always hope. At St. James, the sermon was about how God wants to be in relationship with us exactly as we are because he created us in his image. But we really don't see ourselves that way. Instead, we want to be in relationship with an increasingly smaller and smaller group of people. Jesus saw exactly who the woman at the well was, and he didn't have a problem with that. But more important was the woman. She knew Jesus, and she knew he was a Jew, and to Jews, she was unacceptable, but she engaged with him anyway. That's a spot most people don't want to walk into because it's uncomfortable. We beat up people from the past and we're really good at it. But they were comfortable stepping into this space much more often than we are today. We have evidence of this from literature, art, and history that informs that this was so. Increasingly, we're only comfortable stepping into an increasingly narrow space. We don't we don't know who we are, and so how can we expect others to see us, and how can we understand anyone else? But luckily, God can. We've been sold the idea of diversity, and we've all been diversified into extinction. Once we choose which one thing we are immediately the wrong thing and guilty of not being something else. Somehow, in order for diversity to come into existence, we had to we had to stop existing so that nothing could come into existence. It's all very, very clever. Truly the work of the devil. We've all been flim-flammed. Someone sent me a devotional by Anthony Hip this week about the downward spiral of the church. It was a story of a previous church he belonged to, but it had a weird past and present tense to the story, both at the same time. It's not a new story. Losing our way, it happens collectively in the life of the world and individually in our own lives. And this time we're going about our lives. And occasionally, though, we do get a glimmer that, things are not good and that we are indeed in a dark time. If we're really honest, we probably would realize we're all in a very, very frightening place. We live in a world which asks us to deny Christ, to deny God's existence with our every breath. We've been asleep at the switch, but we're kind of waking up. Some will wake up and know whom they belong. They either will know they belong to God or to their 401k. For many, there's simply no question which one they belong to. But for everyone else, that answer might come as a surprise. I got a notice from Northern Trust Bank Sunday night about the pending financial collapse. They wanted me to know that Northern Trust Bank is one of the top rated banks in the world. When I shared the notice with my sister, she was quick to point out that they use the word remind me instead of assure me, which is amusing because Northern Trust Bank literally is in the surety business. During this time of Lent and in any time when the lights are going out, we can allow some small portion of God to come into our lives to assure us. Many people are doing so. They're doing just that. They're letting God in and they're responding by reaching out to others, those around them in their life who they suspected all along might have been a real person. And I encourage you to do the same. We must all be boastful in the Lord without boasting in him. We might not be on the gold standard, but truth still abounds. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday morning at 12 noon Central Daylight Time. I will include my email address in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.